When you think of great leaders, who comes to mind? We often hear about figures from Europe, Asia, and the Americas, but what about Africa? The continent has produced some of the most resilient, visionary, and transformative leaders in modern history. These men and women fought against colonialism, dismantled oppressive systems, and built nations from the ground up. Today, we're counting down the 10 most respected African leaders of all time. These are figures whose legacies continue to inspire millions across the continent and around the world. Let's start our list at number 10 with a poet, a politician, and a philosopher, Leopold Sedar Senghor of Senegal. Senghor was more than just Senegal's first president. He was a giant of intellectual thought. Alongside other black intellectuals, he co-founded the Negritude movement, a powerful philosophy that celebrated black identity and culture in a world dominated by colonial attitudes. He believed that Africa's path to true independence wasn't just political, but also cultural. After leading Senegal to independence from France in 1960, he served as president for 2 decades. Unlike many of his contemporaries, he voluntarily stepped down, paving the way for a peaceful democratic transition, a rare feat at the time. His legacy is one of intellectual pride and democratic stability, making him a revered figure, especially in Francophone Africa. Coming in at number 9 is a man who twice came to power through military coups, but is remembered for ushering in an era of democracy. Rawlings of Ghana. Known for his charisma and populist appeal, Rawlings first took power in 1979 with a fiery promise to fight corruption. He handed power to a civilian government but returned in 1981, citing a need to steer the country back on track. What makes Rawlings so respected, particularly in Ghana, is what he did next. He didn't cling to power. Instead, he oversaw the transition to a multi-party democracy in 1992, won 2 terms as a civilian president, and then peacefully stepped down. His leadership, though controversial in its early days, is credited with laying the groundwork for Ghana's modern political stability and economic growth. At number 8, we have a leader who is both highly respected and highly controversial, Paul Kagame of Rwanda. To understand Kagame's legacy, you must understand the context from which he emerged. In 1994, Rwanda was torn apart by a genocide that claimed nearly 1 million lives. Kagame, as leader of the Rwandan Patriotic Front, ended the genocide and took charge of a nation in ruins. Since then, he has been widely credited with orchestrating Rwanda's remarkable transformation. Under his leadership, the country has achieved incredible economic growth, stability, and is often cited as one of the cleanest and safest nations in Africa. His supporters see him as a savior who brought order from chaos. However, critics point to his authoritarian style and suppression of dissent. Despite the controversy, within Rwanda and among many observers of African development, he is respected for his undeniable results in rebuilding a nation from ashes. Number 7 on our list is a martyr for African independence, Patrice Lumumba of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Lumumba's time in power was tragically short, less than 3 months, but his impact was monumental. He was the DRC's first democratically elected prime minister and a fierce advocate for a truly independent and unified Congo, free from foreign interference. His powerful speech on Independence Day in 1960, where he boldly condemned the brutalities of Belgian colonialism in front of the Belgian king, instantly made him a hero of African nationalism. This fearless stance, however, also made him powerful enemies. He was illegally ousted from power and assassinated in 1961. A tragedy that many believe was backed by Western powers. Lumumba is remembered across the continent as a symbol of anti-colonial defiance and a visionary whose dream for a united Congo was cut short. Next up, at number 6, is a revolutionary figure often called Africa's Che Guevara, Thomas Sankara of Burkina Faso. In just 4 years as president, from 1983 to his assassination in 1987, Sankara implemented some of the most radical and progressive reforms the continent has ever seen. He renamed his country from the colonial Upper Volta to Burkina Faso, meaning land of incorruptible people, and he lived up to that name. He fought corruption relentlessly, promoted women's rights at an unprecedented level, and championed self-sufficiency. Sankara launched mass vaccination campaigns, planted millions of trees to combat desertification, and promoted local food and textiles. He was a leader who lived modestly, selling off the government fleet of luxury cars and opting for a simple Renault 5. His assassination was a blow to Pan-African dreams, but his ideas and his integrity have made him an icon for youth and activists across Africa today. Our number 5 spot goes to the founding father of Namibia, Sam Nujoma. For decades, Nujoma led the Southwest Africa People's Organization, or SWAPO, in a long and arduous struggle for independence from apartheid South Africa. It was a fight against one of the most oppressive regimes of the 20th century. After years of armed struggle and international diplomacy, Namibia finally gained its independence in 1990, and Nujoma became its first president. What makes him so revered is not just his role as a liberation hero, but also his work as a nation builder. He prioritized national reconciliation, uniting a country fractured by years of conflict and apartheid policies. He served 3 terms as president before stepping down, leaving behind a legacy of peace, stability, and a strong sense of national identity in a country he helped bring into existence. Breaking into the top 4 is the father of the nation for Kenya, Jomo Kenyatta. Kenyatta was a central figure in the struggle against British colonial rule. He was a key leader of the Kenya African Union and was famously imprisoned by the British during the Momo Uprising, accused of being one of its masterminds. His imprisonment only elevated his status as a symbol of Kenyan nationalism. Upon his release, he led Kenya to independence in 1963 and became its first president. As president, he adopted a policy of reconciliation, famously summarized in his slogan Harambee, which means all pull together in Swahili. He aimed to unite the country's diverse ethnic groups and build a stable capitalist economy. While his rule wasn't without its flaws, he is overwhelmingly revered in Kenya for leading the country to freedom and laying the foundation for its post-colonial future. At number 3, we have a pioneer of Pan-Africanism and the man who led the first sub-Saharan African country to independence, Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana. Nkrumah was more than just Ghana's leader. He was a visionary for the entire continent. On the day Ghana gained independence in 1957, he famously declared, "Our independence is meaningless unless it is linked up with the total liberation of Africa." This became his guiding principle. He was a tireless advocate for a United States of Africa, believing that the continent, yes, newly independent nations, could only be strong if they were united politically and economically. He inspired independence movements across Africa and made Ghana a hub for freedom fighters. Though he was overthrown in a coup in 1966, his ideas on Pan-Africanism and self-reliance continue to influence and inspire people across the African diaspora. Our runner-up, at number 2, is a man known affectionately as Mwalimu, or the teacher, Julius Nyerere of Tanzania. Nyerere was Tanzania's first president and a profoundly principled leader. His primary goal was to unite a nation of over 120 different ethnic groups. He promoted Swahili as a national language and fostered a strong sense of Tanzanian identity that transcended tribal lines, a legacy that has kept the nation remarkably peaceful and stable. He championed a unique brand of African socialism called Nujoma, which means familyhood, policy focused on collective agriculture and self-reliance, aiming to create an equitable society. While the economic results of Nujoma were mixed, Nyerere's personal integrity was unquestionable. He lived modestly, was a fierce opponent of corruption, and voluntarily retired from power. He remains one of Africa's most respected elder statesmen, admired for his intellect, humility, and unwavering commitment to unity and equality. And finally, at number 1, a man whose name is synonymous with freedom, forgiveness, and the struggle for justice. Nelson Mandela of South Africa. It's almost impossible to overstate Mandela's impact. As a young lawyer and activist, he led the fight against apartheid, a brutal system of racial segregation. For his beliefs, he spent 27 years in prison, much of it on the infamous Robben Island. But imprisonment did not break him. It forged him. When he was finally released in 1990, he emerged not with bitterness, but with a message of reconciliation. He guided South Africa through a perilous transition, averting a civil war and leading the country to its first ever multiracial democratic election in 1994, in which he became its first black president. Instead of seeking revenge, he created the Truth and Reconciliation Commission to heal the nation's wounds. Mandela's legacy of forgiveness, perseverance, and democratic leadership has made him not just Africa's most iconic leader, but a global moral compass for all time. From philosophers and revolutionaries to nation builders and reconcilers, these 10 leaders represent the incredible spirit and resilience of Africa. Their stories remind us that true leadership is about service, sacrifice, and an unwavering belief in a better future. Who do you think should have been on this list? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more content celebrating incredible histories from around the world.